We outraged again. You know the vibes. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. So people have been going crazy over this new Jay-Z NFL partnership deal collab joint album that they got coming. And I just, in totality, I think we've just lost more and more touch with just the idea of patience because we have no clue the details specifically of this deal. What I've heard and what I've read and the research that I've done that can actually be confirmed is Jay-Z is going to have, he's going to be co-producer of the part-time shows moving forward. And it also gives him a leading role as to how the NFL is going to handle social justice issues. Now, one thing I do want to debunk before I continue is people saying that Jay-Z is going to become a partial owner in an NFL team. And that to me just doesn't make sense. And that story that people are talking about can't even be confirmed. Unless you're going to TMZ for your information, then you're truly fucked. I don't really see any reason why Jay-Z, if he's planning on reconstructing the areas or the thought process that the NFL has implemented thus far, why he would invest in a team under them while they're in reconstruction mode. To put it simply, why would I purchase an office space in a building that I plan on tearing down? I would rebuild the foundation first. But that story about him being partial owner of an NFL team can't even be proven, and I don't know where it came from. That story hasn't been confirmed from Jay-Z. It hasn't been confirmed from the NFL. No teams have alluded to it. So I doubt Jay-Z is going to become partial owner of the fucking Cowboys anytime soon. That, and we all know what happened with Jay-Z in the Nets deal that he had so many years ago, having to give up his share in order to start Rock Nation Sports. Until the people actually involved in this deal come out and say that that's a possibility or true at the very least, I'm not cooperating that story, and you shouldn't believe one that comes from the mouths of TMZ or any other article that reposts what they say. Now that I'm over that, the deal that Jay-Z has with the NFL, I'm gonna tell you right now, I think it's weird and I think it's pretty shady, but I'm giving him some benefit of the doubt. So the first thing I'm gonna put to the side is the co-production of the NFL halftime show. I don't really believe Jay-Z cares about that, and it may have been like an extra bonus that they threw in as a part of the social justice deal. Maybe Jay-Z's main priority in making this deal was the social justice aspect of it, not necessarily the halftime show, especially when prior he told artists not to perform there anyway. So I don't think he really cares about that, but if he does, I could be proven wrong in the future. First thing I want to bring up that I disagreed with was an interview that I saw with Jay-Z where he's sitting in this room full of people talking to others about what Colin Kaepernick did as far as bringing acknowledgement and awareness to social injustice in the first place. His point was that we've gotten past kneeling, and that's the first thing I had an issue with, because Colin Kaepernick and the whole kneeling issue was never brought to fruition because he wanted to get more awareness only of that situation that he was trying to bring a higher voice to. He did that, I believe, in hopes that other people would join him. Because what so many people don't understand is we are the oil that keeps these businesses running and going. Without the viewers, there's no money that can be made from the Super Bowl. Without the players, there's no money that can be made from these games. There's no entertainment that can be given to the viewers that pay to watch them. I believe Colin Kaepernick would never admit to this, but I believe he feels like everyone else failed him. Because in all honesty, if all the teams in the NFL took the stance he did, that takes away their entire leverage. They were only able to make a law in the NFL or make a stipulation to prevent people from kneeling during the national anthem because so few players actually took a stand with him, and so few viewers actually said, we're gonna stop watching this in totality. If people supported him to that degree while he was doing what he was doing, that law or that stipulation never could have been made in the first place. Yes, you need an engine to run a car. You need an engine to run your system, but without the wheels, it's going nowhere. Terrible analogy, but the players are the wheels, and they kept that truck going despite what Colin was trying to do. There were a couple of people that joined him. There were a lot of people that joined him, but nowhere near the amount needed or necessary for him to avoid being blackballed. Because that's effectively what ended up happening as a result of people not coming to his immediate defense. So immediately when Jay-Z says we're past kneeling, we never started. If you actually did research and looked up the amount of people who stood or kneeled with Colin Kaepernick, the amount of people wasn't as much as it was needed for the statement that he was trying to make to be heard, to the degree that a move like Jay-Z doing what he was about to do even was necessary in the first place. Now, of course, I don't want every NFL player to abandon their dreams in defense of an idea, but If that were to have happened, Jay-Z's move right now would completely be trash. But since they didn't, Colin Kaepernick being blackballed is the result. So on one hand, I'm asking myself how you partner with an agency or a league that put in the prevention of social justice or the prevention of someone trying to take a stand against something happening to a specific group socially. How do you further develop social justice with an organization like that? The responsibility of the social justice is going to end up being on Jay-Z and not the NFL, in my opinion, because the NFL is using his face as the cover-up or the spokesperson for that particular movement. In my opinion, I think that's what they're going to end up doing. The NFL effectively has to do nothing while they watch Jay-Z do everything to promote whatever ideas that he's yet to come forward with. Meanwhile, the association and many of the owners of said teams that advocated for the ruling against sitting or kneeling during the anthem get to hide behind Jay-Z's face and say, oh, we actually do have a social justice reform system in our community. We actually do have a really healthy boys club where we all care about all people, more than the majority of the people that are watching our program that we want to appease, and we don't want to make them feel uncomfortable or make them feel awkward. They can keep saying that because he's going to be the face that they use. Sure, you can tell me, and I completely agree with you, that we don't know the situation right now. We don't know what it's going to look like 10 years down the road because, as I said before, patience is something that I feel our generation has a very hard time understanding and working on, understanding the idea that patience is needed in order to see the results of something that you may have implemented years ago. It doesn't mean it's a failure just because it isn't working instantly. My issue is, if at the end of the day, what Jay-Z's doing, if it doesn't work, if it doesn't end up panning out long term, the worst that ends up happening to Jay-Z is he suffers a little backlash, but he makes most of the money. Meanwhile, this whole stance, despite it being inspired by Kaepernick, doesn't actually include him. Like I said, I get waiting to see what's gonna happen, but at the end of the day, Jay-Z reaps nothing but benefits, even if it doesn't end up working out. And I get it. As a businessman, he's well within his right to do this thing, but claiming it's for something else when it looks so odd and shady and we have so little information, I get that, does, as Reed said, come off as disingenuous. And in my opinion, that still being the case, I don't see how Jay-Z being a co-owner or co-producer or co-anything or a strong role or a strong face or a strong voice in any of these areas that he has that role in now that he's made his deal with the NFL, if you can't directly call every single shot, I don't necessarily know if you're going to be the strongest advocate for change. So I just want to let people know that while making this video, I do hold the opinion against what Jay-Z is doing. I'm more concerned about how much power he actually has to influence or spark any major change than I am about, you know, calling him trash or calling him a bad person, because I genuinely do not know. That's just the question that's going around right now. If his situation, if this deal doesn't end up working long term, everyone who was against the deal in the first place can just say, those blacks just didn't try hard enough. And the spokesperson for this social justice movement, Jay-Z, would be the person who would be the fall guy. At the same time, if it does end up working out, I'm sure most of the people that are concerned about this and that are saying that he's trash will be on his side. But this exclusion of so many different people that have been advocating or that have been the first responders to the injustice, in my opinion, is what's so strange. And say what you want about Colin Kaepernick and accepting that $10 million or however much it was settlement, to say that this has all been about money is incredibly disingenuous when the amount of money that he would have ended up making just sitting with the NFL would have far exceeded the amount of money that he's taken and accepted right now. Keeping his mouth shut, standing tall, and putting his hand over his chest while he hears the national anthem would have been much more financially beneficial for him. And for all the people that are saying like, oh shit, man, you're undermining everything that Jay-Z's done for our community, like, don't take what he did for Meek Mill and what he did for 21 Savage as a service act to all of the black community, because it's for a certain percentage of a certain class of black folk. I said that years ago when I first heard him doing what he did for Meek Mill. I'm not saying anything for certain. I'm just very cautious and very wary, and I don't trust this decision at all. I don't know how it's going to end up benefiting most common folk or most of the minority players in the NFL, but time will only tell. That's all I got to say for right now, and I'll update you if I have anything else. Thank you for watching. It's been me, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. All right? Chill.